Hey, welcome to Callback Bites. I'm here with my guest, Peeps, and I have a question for you, Peeps.
Certainly. Go right ahead.
What is your favorite animated character and why?
Yeah, so for a little background, you did message me about this and you messaged me this question and I instantly had an answer because this is one I think about this question a lot actually, and I'll just give you the answer. The answer, my favorite animated character ever is Bobby Hill from King of the Hill. And the reason why that is, I know it's like I'm a Yu-Gi-Oh player and I watch like a bunch of anime, but you would think that like, oh, my favorite character is like Goku or something like that, but no. My favorite character is Bobby Hill from King of the Hill. Because as strange as it sounds, Bobby Hill meant a lot to me when I was growing up. And the reason why is because, Bobby is he's like very different from his family and especially from his father. And I can really relate to that, right? Because, his dad, when he was in high school, was like the quarterback or something. I don't know. He was like a big, tough guy. And
Mhm.
my dad was in the military. Both my parents were actually. And I was not a very violent kid at all. Definitely did not match like typical machismo when I was growing up, right?
Mhm.
So I was in band, I was in choir, um, just completely different than how my dad was. And you can just see how he interacts with Hank, going through the show. And there's that famous clip that's of him, or famous clip. There's like that famous, you see it on Facebook a lot, if anybody is still on Facebook, that is. But you see it on Facebook of like the string of pictures where he's talking to his mom, and his mom, Peggy, is like really sensitive about the fact that she has bigger feet typically for a cis woman. Um, and he just keeps talking about, like he's bigger, right? He's a bigger kid. And that's something that people would typically see as a negative, but he is happy with how he is and who he is. And his mom, Peggy, should be too. And I was definitely a bigger kid growing up. Now I'm definitely more of a fit kind of person. I work out 3 to 4 times a week, but even in spite of that, I still have a bit of chub on me, right? That's how I'm always going to be. That's just my body type. And Bobby, with how happy he was and how focused he was on making people feel good and feel better about themselves, and how nerdy and quirky he was, really just it was like a bit of representation as I was growing up. Just specifically, like his dad was the very typical guy growing up in high school, and I was not that. I had a lot of the same differences that I did, or that Bobby did with his dad. So yeah, that's why Bobby Hill just meant a lot to me growing up, and I saw a
Mhm.
lot of myself in him.
Did you see yourself a lot in the world of King of the Hill? Because it was set in Texas, and a lot of it was based on Mike Judge's childhood and what he grew up with.
Uh, you know, oh man, it's so hard. It's so hard to answer that because like
Hmm.
King of the Hill is a lot like Seinfeld in the sense that it really shows a lot of the mundane, right? Like Peggy is like into boggle as their hobby, and Hank, goes to lawn mowing shows, and that's like his thing is mowing the lawn and being really into his like being passionate about his 9 to 5 job of selling propane, right? And I mean, it's easy to say yes because I mean, King of the Hill is an exaggeration of typical modern life, right? Just day to day life and the fun things that can happen. Um, so I wouldn't say that I saw myself specifically in the world of King of the Hill,
Hmm.
but really when it came to the relationship that Bobby had to his dad, his mom, and the people around him, and being seen as like the late bloomer, right? Have you heard that term before, like
Yeah,
late
yeah, yeah, late
bloomer?
bloomer.
Yeah, yeah. So for I don't know if anybody's watching this ever heard that term before. Late bloomer is like somebody that's growing up and they're just not really good at anything. Like they haven't really found out who they are, and some people know who they are and mature earlier. And I guess you could say I was a little more mature than most kids around me growing up, but really I didn't like find a thing that I was good at until like high school. I don't know if that's totally true because I knew I was like a singer in a choir and like I was musically talented growing up for sure. But like, you know, establishing yourself in like a social part of the world, like not I was not great at that and I didn't really find who I really wanted to be yet. And Bobby kind of felt that way for me too. So in terms of the environment, obviously yes, because it's King of the Hill and it's very modern, mundane life. But truly, I saw every time I would watch that show, I'd really put myself in Bobby's shoes a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm. And I guess last question: Did you? What was your reaction? Because Bobby, I know he's voiced by a woman, but I can't remember her name. What did you think about when you found that out?
You know, it's so that's actually it's a really good question. Because like Bart Simpson was voiced by a woman too. A lot of characters growing up, like Ash Ketchum was too, I'm pretty sure.
Oh
Like a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of male characters that we grew up with and watched as kids, they were voiced by women, right? So we would resonate with those characters, and the voices of those characters were women. Um, so obviously it wasn't poignant to me when I was growing up, but now, obviously living in the modern era, understanding deeper concepts like patriarchy and feminism and all that, like, you know, it does mean a lot to me that those characters were voiced by women and that I still saw myself with those characters and those characters were portrayed to me as a viewer by a woman. So, you know, women can create things that really resonate with me as a man, and I can really enjoy still as a man. I mean, it's obvious to say, but it sticks out to me now because it's like, you know, I resonated with those characters even though it was someone that was, you know, of a different identity than myself.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's a great call out. I don't know. It's I don't know how to specifically say it more than it's just like I think it's a good thing that I found myself in that character and they were shown to me through the voice of a woman. Because I have a deep respect for the art that women create as I grew up
Oh,
and
nice,
now.
nice. No, thank you very much. No, thank you, Peeps. That was great. This has been another callback by